So what do you guys think about the electric cars business? Is that something you want to buy into? For those of you who are watching right now, mm, are you for that? So this is part one. Next time we come, we can do a part two. I plan on doing a part two. Uh, it's a very interesting what these guys are talking about. Things we've already talked about in the channel anyway. So yeah, there's a big push for electric cars, and yeah, but there are some very serious concerns that need to be addressed.
I
And
think it's highly inefficient and it's going to put a strain on our power grid. Then, especially if they want to go to the whole green energy idea,
mhm, yeah,
because the green energy things that they want to do are underpowered as it is and don't produce enough electricity for the average person to be able to function on a regular basis.
yeah, I think C- California should be an example of what happens when you try to abuse that power.
Yeah, like I remember there was a radio news station that was premiering this new electric car where you can just plug it in and you're good to go, you know.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
then the news anchor asks, "Well, where does the electricity come from?" They're like, "Well, that building right there." And they're like, "Okay, so how does the building get power?" And she's like, "Well, it just gets power, the power comes from the building and goes to the car."
Mhm,
Finally, he talked from, or she gave the name of the electric company. And
mhm.
so he went to the head of the electric company and he's like, "So, okay, the car gets power from the building. Where does the building get power from?"
Mm.
And he's like, "Well, they get power from us." And it's like, "Okay, so how do you produce your power?" "From coal."
Mhm. Boom.
It's like in the end,
Demolition derby.
it's like at the end of the day, you're not really helping anything.
Nope, no, you are not. But we must believe that you are. You know how that story goes, right?
And not to mention the fact, like I said, the batteries, the cobalt in the batteries, you can't just dispose of that. That's like super toxic.
And I think that's what they're gonna talk about today. So
All right, let's
let's
find
take
out.
a let's take a listen to that because he addresses that's part one. Part two goes even deeper, but we can save that for another live stream.
Okay.
All right, let me turn it on.
it.
Electric car sales are up 66%.
Anybody want to jump in the back?
And now my president says the future.
It's electric, and there's no turning back.
To make sure of that, some states are banning gas-powered cars.
Gasoline cars are driving us toward climate chaos. We actually have to stop using fossil fuel vehicles.
California's governor made that an executive order.
We will eliminate the sales of internal combustion engines.
Governments everywhere say they plan to do that.
The government has a vision for a future where all our cars will be electric.
But this is just magical thinking. It can't happen. In this video and the next, we point out 5 inconvenient facts about electric cars that politicians and green activists just don't understand.
Electric cars are amazing.
Physicists like Mark Mills of the Manhattan Institute do understand. He says the trend to electric is a good thing.
But it won't change the future in any significant way with respect to oil use or carbon dioxide emissions.
That's inconvenient fact 1. More electric cars will hardly dent oil use. If all of us bought electric cars, would it make any difference?
So the world has 15, 18 million electric vehicles now. It could go to 300 million, maybe 500 million vehicles. I don't think it'll get that many, but that's the aspiration. That would reduce world oil consumption by about 10%. That's not nothing, but it doesn't end the use of oil for the world.
Because most of it's used for what?
Flying airplanes, driving buses, big trucks. The mining equipment that get the copper to build the electric cars is all oil-fired, and it won't change because those trucks last 40 years.
And even if all vehicles somehow switch to electricity, there'd be another problem because despite what we've heard,
further, faster, cheaper, and greener.
electric cars are not all that green. One reason is because electricity isn't all that green. I'm amazed talking to people who are all excited about their electric car and they say, and I'm not polluting. And I say, where do you get the electricity from? And they don't know. They don't know that most of America's electricity comes from fossil fuels, natural gas and coal. Just 12% comes from wind and solar. Yet auto companies tell us
electric vehicles in general are better and more sustainable for the environment.
she's a Ford engineer. She's not ignorant.
Well, actually, she probably is ignorant in the literal sense of the word. She's not stupid, but ignorance speaks to what you know. You have to mine somewhere on Earth 500,000 pounds of minerals and rock to make one battery.
And most of this mining isn't done in the U.S. American regulations make it nearly impossible. So it's done other places, polluting those countries. And worse, ingredients in batteries are mined in places that enslave people and use child labor.
An army of children are at the heart of the mining production, wearing no shoes and in the most wretched conditions.
Most Americans proudly driving electric cars don't know about this. They just don't want mining done near them. But wherever it's done, mining is a dirty business that adds lots of carbon to the air.
If you're worried about carbon dioxide, the electric vehicle is emitted 10 to 20 tons of carbon dioxide before it even gets to your driveway, before you drive the first mile and plug it in the first time.
Carbon dioxide produced by the mining and the manufacturing and the shipping.
Exactly. Volkswagen published an honest study. They point out that the first 60,000 miles or so you're driving an electric vehicle, that electric vehicle will have emitted more carbon dioxide than if you just drove a conventional vehicle in the first place.
You have to own it for a while before the electric part starts to win.
You have to own it for at least 100,000 miles, and then the electric part wins by some. So it doesn't get you a zero emissions vehicle. It's reduced the emissions then by 20 or 30%, which is not nothing, but it's not zero.
No, it's not close to zero. In our next video, more inconvenient facts about electric cars. Politicians make impossible assumptions about batteries and the electric grid. Hope you liked this video.
Wow. That one regarding the mining and how this is produced, that was it for me.
Yeah, I mean,
Nah.
a lot of people don't realize where this stuff comes from and how much it takes.
Yeah, I'm good. I'll pass.
I mean, you got to stop and think that not only that, but oil is responsible for a lot of things we use on a daily basis. The glasses that you're wearing, that
Mhm.
headset that you're wearing,
Mm-hmm.
the epaulets on your hoodie, the chair you're sitting in, all of that stuff comes from oil.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've studied that
Like,
before.
I mean, they don't realize no oil, no plastic.
I don't think they're saying no oil. I just that they have an issue with you driving and putting it in your car. But that's one of the
No,
means of it
these
being
people,
used.
these people want no oil being drilled.
You
Period.
can even survive without it. They can't even make electric cars without oil. They don't know what they're talking about. I think they are
Ignorant.
again. This is the fear. Yeah, ignorant, but this is the fear. When you use the fear, the same fear that was imposed on us for the past 2 years,
Oh
is
no,
what's
it's
being
been more
used.
than 2 years. This
Well,
has
I'm
been
saying
going on since like the 1930s.
I know, but I'm talking about the same method of fear mongering for the past 2 years that was used to get us to, you know, to inject ourselves
Hmm.
with these things. It's the same method, fear sells. If you can't get them to think rationally, just scare them to death, they will surrender. And I
Hmm.
think they're using the climate as a mean to control and to manipulate people. They themselves don't really believe that. They live near beaches, and they fly in their jets, and it's like, yeah, but you want to save the planet.
Yeah, Martha's Vineyard is actually below sea level.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how many people live there? How many rich people live there?
That tells you how much they care about.
Let's see. I believe there's a former president that lives there.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's do that one last one with
All right.
California's moved to Texas. This is part number 5, by the way, guys. We got a whole series of Babylon Bee on the channel here, so I'm gonna give them their own playlist. I think I have like 8 videos already up there. So get ready for some laughter. We're gonna end it with some laughter here, and I give you a word, and we out. Let's do this. You need to your audio. Oh, there we go. Test. No, you don't have your audio.
Is it muted?
It sounds like no, it's not muted on my end. It sounds like it's muted on your end. It is. It's muted.
Okay. Let's try this again.
Let's do it. Wow. Megan say China has control out of the power grid. Play right into their hands. Yeah, Megan, definitely. I'm gonna when we go on Rumble, we're gonna have those discussions that
we're gonna have the hard talks.
Yeah, we're gonna have the hard talks. I just gotta figure out how to set it up. It's not hard. I know you need to get a subscription of some sort, so we're gonna do that. I'll schedule it ahead of time, talk to you on Discord and everything, and then we'll set it up.
All right. Ready?
Yes.